All right, there it is. We're live. Looking at you. You're looking back at me, Brian Campbell, coming in here. The BCX, the Brian Campbell experience with a live instant reaction to everything that just went down in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, the heavyweight championship rematch. As Oleksandr Usyk defends 3 of 4 heavyweight titles against Tyson Fury via unanimous decision in a thrilling, brilliant performance in a very, very close fight. Fired up to be with you guys. Dressed, a little nicer than normal in the BCX parts because I just concluded business on CBS Sports HQ. Reggie Jackson is in the house. I mean, should I pick him up wearing the jacket? You know what I'm saying? I don't know, Reg. How you feeling about this? Reg was a big Fury fan coming in. There we go. He's gone. Fired up to be here, guys. Had to get through CBS Sports HQ. Wrote a nice post-fight column for CBS Sports, but I'm here. I'm ready to go. I'm fired up. Thank you, Dixon. Thank you. I'm looking good. I'm looking ready. You know who's looking better than me? Oleksandr Usyk. So coming in, a lot of interesting stuff going on. It was Tyson Fury fooling us at the weigh-in with the 281 pounds, with the leather jacket, with the big pants. I was really wondering, was he wearing a weighted vest or have the weights in the pockets like Ray Leonard did weighing in at middleweight against Marvin Hagler? In the end, look, that didn't play as much of a role. We still saw Fury with a very high waist in terms of the waistline there with the cup he was wearing. He definitely was big, but I think this was a rejuvenated Fury. He came in with the stamina to push for 12 hard rounds. He had a case certainly in the scoring of this fight, even though the scores were wider than he certainly believed, his promoter, and I think a lot of people to some degree watching at home and certainly ringside there at Kingdom Arena in Riyadh. But skills pay the bills ultimately, and the right man got his hand raised, and that was Usyk. I'm almost speechless here. It's like coming in, did we already know that the 37-year-old Usyk was trending toward the idea of being considered an all-time great fighter? Yes. 2012 Olympic gold medal. Unbeaten as a professional. Undisputed cruiserweight champion, going through one unbeaten champion after another. And then he's already the undisputed heavyweight champion back on May 18th in that thrilling fight of the year candidate when he won a split decision over Fury, where it really came down to that knockdown that was ruled by referee Mark Nelson in round 9. But after this performance in the rematch, with Usyk claiming unanimous decision, same scorecard on all three, 116, 112, which is 8 rounds to 4 for Usyk. You don't want to get caught up in the hyperbole per se, but I think we're realizing one thing here. It's a very small sample size, just 7 fights at heavyweight. But in those 7 fights over the last 5 years, Usyk now has 2 wins over Anthony Joshua in their battles for the unified title, 2 wins over Tyson Fury, including one for the undisputed championship, and a knockout of the other title holder in Daniel Dubois. That, yeah, he was already on the way to becoming an all-time great fighter. But this fight showed us, in my opinion, that he's on his way to becoming an all-time great heavyweight. He might already be there. And it's certainly not in the totality of his resume and his accomplishments. But it is in the skill that he's showing and the idea, could this man compete in any heavyweight era at 6'3" with the southpaw stance, with the variety offensively that is without peer, with maybe the purest boxing we've seen in this division since Muhammad Ali, as crazy as it sounds to say that. We've seen great boxer punchers, destroyers like Lennox Lewis, Vladimir Klitschko, workmen like guys like Evander Holyfield. You've certainly seen the sluggers like Deontay Wilder, but as a pure boxer, an ability to adjust, the guts, the heart, the chin, we're watching something supremely special right here. Now, before we get too deep into that, all right. Yeah, I'm feel double kebab for everybody. I mean, hey, Daniel Dubois, read the room a little bit, right? Let Usyk celebrate before you jump in and say, I want rematch now. The judges scored 8-4 across the board. How did I have it? I had it 1 round more for Usyk. But it's not saying that it's not a brilliantly close fight. It was. I ultimately had it 9 rounds to 3 to Usyk, which I understand on the surface. It sounds like, what are you watching? Wasn't that a close fight? Wasn't that arguably just as close as the first fight? In some ways, yes, but it doesn't need to be. Let me say it this way. Just because it was a brilliantly close fight with so many close rounds doesn't mean that if you scored a fight particularly wide for somebody within that, that it's a robbery, that you're blind, that you don't know what you're doing. This was a very close fight with some very close rounds. And I'll give Tyson Fury credit. The times that it looked like that 281 pounds was gonna lead him to a major stamina dump, which I do think was the turning point in that first fight in round 8, when Tyson Fury really started to backpedal, throw less punches, and then Usyk really lined him up with that left hand, nearly knocked him out in round 9. To Fury's credit in this rematch, I do think he utilized the training camp in the Malta training camp. Shout out to Malta, by the way. The 3 months no contact with the family. Even though he was certainly bigger in weight, I do think he came in with a steel focus, better stamina, and improvement. Yet Usyk also improved. Look, we always say it where Compubox fight stats don't secure or cement who won the fight, but they certainly can aid in getting you there. They certainly can strengthen your argument. So let's talk about those Compubox numbers in a fight that featured so many close rounds. But in those close rounds, I thought it was Usyk who was pushing an insane pace meant to break Tyson Fury, who took the cue from Tyson Fury, who brutalized Usyk to the body in the middle rounds of their first fight, along with having huge success with that counter right uppercut. And what did Usyk do? Took away that from him, took away the jab once again from him, and targeted the body of Fury. So you have to understand what Usyk's doing. Crowding Fury behind that high guard, bringing super elite head movement and defense that we just don't see at this level at heavyweight, and allowing him to stand basically in front of a guy who had so many physical advantages over him. And yet still statistically, it almost looks as if he, to some degree, dominated this fight. So what do I mean by that? Total punches, Usyk had the advantage of 179 to 144. But look at the efficiency of this breakdown from Usyk. He landed 42% of his punches overall in a very competitive fight at an insane pace with an equally great all-time heavyweight in Fury in front of him. He landed 42% of his total shots to just 28 for Fury. You want to talk about total jabs? Usyk out-jabbed Fury 73 to 44. And again, really just took away that jab from him. How about body shots? Something that I mentioned. Fury had more success in the first fight. This time, Usyk outlanded him to the body 78 to 45. How about power shots? Usyk didn't just outland Fury 106 to 100, which was very close, and give Fury credit. He was able to get off, especially at certain rallies he was trying to do at certain points. He was able to get off some of his shots. But Usyk landed 50% of his power shots. That old adage I always talk about, they always say if you land 40% of your power shots, you probably won. Usyk landed 42% of his overall punches and 50% of his power shots. This is brilliance. This is unbelievable when you consider a few things here. 1, Usyk giving up 6 inches in height. 2, giving up 8 inches in reach. 3, giving up, 55 pounds in weight? Yet, for a boxer not known in this division as a big-time puncher, not known for having one-punch knockout power, Usyk once again fought like the bigger man, landed the bigger punches throughout. Just wild to me. Shout out to Johnny Gorley right there. That's what I'm talking about right there. That's the man right there, okay? Just landing... I mean, you want to talk about the smaller fighter walking down the giant, but this giant isn't Firpo or Viluev or, some of these other just insanely huge heavyweights that we've seen live and survive by size. Fury's as skilled himself at his peak, which I can certainly say he's no longer there at his peak. But can I say that when we just saw almost a rejuvenated Fury compared to the first fight? Why did Fury storm off and walk off? I think because he was embarrassed to some degree. I think it's the same way where Usyk humbled Joshua so much that, don't forget, after the second victory over Anthony Joshua, In another very close fight with which Usyk just had the answers at every turn. We saw AJ kind of lose his mind, take over the interview like he was Forrest Griffin, ruining Tito Ortiz's retirement, and just sort of like, having a meltdown in there. Fury kind of had his own meltdown by running out, and they picked up some footage of him in the hallway, and he said, "Look, I thought I won by 3 rounds." And look, that side of the ring, it was Eddie Hearn, it was Frank Warren, Bob Arum. 2 of those 3 are promoters of Tyson Fury. It was Oscar De La Hoya who sat next to them and said on camera that he thought he had Fury up, by a good amount at a point where most people had Usyk. It's not that Fury didn't fight well. It's not that he doesn't have some type of argument for this fight to be closer. I just scored this, as closely as anybody else round by round. And you have to acknowledge that Usyk was the better fighter again at almost every turn in almost every category. Even when Fury did land the big shots, Usyk shook them off like they were nothing and continued doing what he's doing. To carry on that pace over 12 rounds at 37 years old and have an answer for everything his opponent, who is bigger in every single category, has. What are we watching here? We're watching one of the greatest, most skilled heavyweights of all time ply his craft. Now, look, 7-fight resume. I'm not here to try to tell you that that's a resume comparable to the great Joe Louis or, Muhammad Ali or anybody else. Obviously, when you're looking at Usyk's greatness, you're talking about the totality of everything he's accomplished, from the gold medal to the undisputed in 2 divisions. But when we talk about, can you fight in any era? When we talk about things like, hey, for as great as Marciano was, how is a 5'10" guy going to do against a 6'9" Fury? 6'3" Usyk was considered too small for the super heavyweight era, because you have hulking knockout artists, some of them who have great skill, like the 6'9" Fury, the 6'7" Wilder, who really just brought the power to the table. But how about the 6'6" Joshua, the 6'5" Dubois? Yet the 6'3" southpaw with the mental steel focus, the incredible ring IQ, the accuracy, the variety of offense, and some of the best pure defense, once again, that I've ever seen in this division. I'll never forget a conversation I had in New York about 2018-ish. It was right after Usyk's final cruiserweight fight, when he knocked out Eddie Hearn's guy, Tony Bellew. I happened to randomly call that fight for DAZN in their early stages, called it from a closet studio in Miami, as they were using, at that point, a UK team, and then they had a team in the States to call that. And I remember going up to Eddie. It was about a week later in New York. It was a Canelo Alvarez. Maybe it was the Canelo Alvarez Rocky Fielding press conference in December of 18. And, loose off camera, I say, hey, Eddie, I love you and all, but this guy Usyk is special. I think he beats AJ. And I'll never forget the reaction from Eddie, who obviously is protecting his guy. But, Eddie was like, look, the guy's skilled, but he's way too small to beat Joshua. And that was the prevailing thought for everyone, but probably Rafe Bugs, my boy, right? Who's on vacation right now. I know he saw the fight. You'll be getting him and I at some point next week to certainly wrap this up ahead of Christmas and react to this. And I'm certainly excited to hear what he has to say. He was a day at 1-ish Usyk guy. But I thought Usyk was going to have problems with physicality, with punching power, with a few things in this division. But skills really do pay the bills and win out when your other intangibles, as Usyk's are just ridiculous through the roof. I mean, this guy's chin and will and focus, the ability to be so unflappable that the great wizard in Tyson Fury, who can get in anyone's head, is ultimately just no problem for Usyk. But I saw a lot of people watching it. Maybe they weren't scoring it as close, and they're saying, BC on Twitter, you're crazy. How could you score it that wide? Get glasses, get a new job, get a new life. We probably have a few in here. Hey, Vince Ventura always hates on BC. Let's see what he has to say. An embarrassment of a scorecard, says Compubox is dude hitting buttons. It's not a computer. Look, I don't typically try to say, Vince, that, if you've got the Compubox edge, you've definitely won. We've seen that before. Where you can, but it certainly can bolster a case. And I think in every category, this really bolsters a case. But I really have to push against the idea that just because you scored something wider than someone else thought, that you're wrong or you're horrible at this. These rounds were so close, and I wrote that. I put a little star next to the rounds whenever they're this close. And it was the craft, it was the work rate, it was everything. There were certain rounds where Fury definitely established himself. He had some nice comeback rounds where he did sort of get off first and back up Usyk a little bit. But for the most part, it was the opposite. So, I stand by that scorecard. I had it 9-3. The 3 judges had it 8-4. And you have to understand, coming in, I was almost assured that they were going to give it to Fury if it was remotely close. Heading into waiting on the decision, I still figured, okay, we're definitely getting a majority or a split decision here. But it didn't go that way. And I'm glad. And we can quibble all we want, whether 9-3 is too far, whether it should have been 7-5, 8-4. Look, what is that in the end? That's a difference of 1 or 2 rounds. The better guy won. And even the ridiculous AI judge, which I wasn't sure if the AI judge was going to spit out 118, 110 Canelo and back up Adelaide Bird here. But even the AI judge had it one. It didn't really make sense, the score, but had it 118, 112, which is even more in the other direction. But a brilliant 2-fight series, but the better fighter won. Was the second fight better than the first? I think the first fight is still your front runner for fight of the year. Maybe it didn't have as insane a pace throughout as this one, but I thought there was more power punch exchanges and drama and maybe some more momentum swings. This one, for the most part, it was close, but it was Usyk getting the key edges in the key areas when he needed to. So, yeah, maybe the AI judge was me. Maybe I've been fooling you all along, and I just wanted to score it as wide as possible. You know what I mean? It's possible there. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to rewatch it and do the same thing, Stone Silly. And I wasn't Stone Silly for this fight. A lot of people accusing me of that, but damn, it's great when you exit one of these fights just being in awe of the magic of what you saw, and it's not just me filleting Usyk here. I mean, I got to give Fury a lot of credit. I did, like I mentioned, thought he went back to the well and came back even better in this. But when he can't consistently build off of his jab, which Fury does such a great job against heavyweights who are slower than him, not as skilled, that don't have the same reach. He can build off that jab. He can use that active guard with the constant feinting. He not only couldn't take the lead for the most part against Usyk, it was Usyk using a lot of that same strategy against him with the constant feinting, which never could leave Fury in a spot to really sit down and throw big with his shots. There were a couple counter right uppercuts, but for the most part, Usyk took that away. And Fury did have some good moments to the body, but Usyk landed more, and I thought had more effect with his body shots. There were rounds where Fury did have a jab going, but what did Usyk do? Would eat the jab or slip it and counter with combinations to the body. So I thought the judges got it fair in the end. And don't forget, I picked Fury to win by majority decision. Didn't expect it to go this way. Didn't expect Usyk to be able to once again make those adjustments and keep a distance from Fury, not just a distance on the cards, not just a distance in the space between them, but man, he stayed the course throughout his career and consistently at every turn in one big fight after another found ways to win in very tough, close fights, whether it's the Myris Brightest semifinal in the World Boxing Super Series between 2 unbeaten champions, whether it's Fury 1 or 2, Dubois fight, who, yes, there's some controversy in that first Dubois fight. I don't look past that. But this ability of Usyk to combine his daring nature, his incredible chin, his iron will, what other superlatives do you want to say? His IQ, all of that, to constantly figure out how to win these really close fights. That's what greatness is literally all about. That's what separates those who are at that level from others that think they're at that level. I'm humbled. I'm absolutely humbled to have witnessed this, to have witnessed the rise. Now, you did get Dubois crashing the party afterwards, like I mentioned, just sort of pushing through what could have been this inspirational moment. I think Oladipo doing the interview for DAZN was a little hindered by, I don't think Usyk could hear his translator that clearly, so it was a little broken. We were waiting on Usyk's response, and then Dubois jumps right in. But look at Usyk. He could have easily been like, nah, bro, get in line, wait your turn. I don't know if I'm going to keep fighting. And he said, the hilarious. I mean, Usyk's timing comedically is just insane. It's through the roof hilarious. But his response of, how do you say, His Excellency, let's do a rematch, is just hilarious. So I thought we were going to get that rematch anyway. And shout out, by the way. And I wonder if some of the group think in this, again, very close fight. I wouldn't have killed anyone for thinking Tyson Fury should have lost it a little bit closer, or maybe, just maybe it could have been a draw. I think in that case, if it was a draw, we'd be talking about Usyk kind of getting screwed there. But, you know, it could have been closer a little bit, but it wasn't. And the right guy won. So let's enjoy that. Now, having Anthony Joshua live score for DAZN when you realize he wants more than anything for Fury to win so he can get back in that title picture and get a fight. And you know what? I think he will be getting Tyson Fury next, even with the loss. Maybe that was the wrong guy because Joshua, for the most part, had Fury ahead, I think, before finally pushing Usyk ahead. And interviewing De La Hoya, who says live, and the whole crowd can hear him, that he had Fury up. I think that announce team, which was heavily British, was trying almost every way to illuminate the success that Fury was having. I saw what I saw. I scored it the way I scored it. How did you have it? How did you see it? Let me know. Continue to carry on with this conversation. Yeah, I'm having issues with this collar, TM, because I got this IFB attached to it, and there we go. Now we're back. Now we're back. Now we're ready. Now we're ready to mingle. Not single, but definitely ready to mingle here. There. Well, you know, let's get a feel here. Mosh had it 8-4 Usyk. Let me know what you think out there. All right. Dude, the body was key for it to be considered coming in, and Frank Warren made that big speech that Usyk was weak to the body. It was a big success Fury had in the first fight. It was very smart to see Usyk spin the tables on Fury and have the greater success and control it. You're watching a masterful technician. And yes, heavyweights age late, but you know, for as long as Usyk wants to keep fighting, to some degree, I think he's only getting better the more he's taking on these tough challenges in this division. I'd be very excited to see what that Dubois rematch does look like, knowing how kind of recharged Dubois is this calendar year. I think Usyk certainly just locked up Boxer of the Year in 2024 with these 2 wins over Fury. It's not even a competition, right? Even though Inoue had a good year, Bam Rodriguez had a breakthrough year. There's a few of them. Daniel Dubois in there. Daniel Dubois might have been your fighter of the year if Usyk had lost on this day, because he knocked out unbeaten Filip Ergovic to pick up that vacant IBF title, and then he absolutely destroyed AJ. But this is a good result for the division, in my opinion, because Usyk, Dubois too, you can build it up. There's a storyline there, and it's going to be interesting if Dubois can come in as obsessed, as like one track mind, I am a destroyer, like he brought in against AJ. But let's see what he does against Usyk, because we're finding out that it's really hard to look good. I mean, it really takes us back to that Derek Chisora fight, the second in Usyk's heavyweight journey, where it was closer than a lot of us thought. Chisora put on better pressure and made it more of a rugged affair, like a lot of us thought. He was kind of the only one at heavyweight so far that's been able to have some success with that. Joshua couldn't. Fury didn't even commit to that plan in either fight, because the guy across from him is just so skilled and can move so well. But man, right? Just blown away by it. But I appreciate you guys jumping on here. I appreciate you supporting the chat, like Michael Carson right here. We need you to have a night off to do a watch along for events like this, either solo or with Luke. But yeah, I would love to do that too. But as of right now, I'm an employee of CBS Sports, and this is big business for us, and that's the reality. But so if I can make it work, I'll make it work. Michael, thank you so much for your support. And you know I'm a big Alan W guy. But let's hear what Alan says. Both you and Luke need to watch the fight again. When Fury controlled the center, Usyk doesn't do a lot. Fair. I thought there were a few rounds that I was angling toward Fury, and you saw some clean rallies of combinations down the stretch by Usyk that ultimately shaded back in his favor. And even if my real-time scorecard of 9-3 is too far, the other 3 judges had it 8-4. I still don't think you're pushing pushing toward a Fury draw. I don't think it'd be the end of the world if that happened. But like I said, I think we'd be talking about it was a little bit of a robbery, at least some horrible luck there. Fury fought well, but it just wasn't enough. It just wasn't enough. You know what I'm saying? Who's here after listening to Luke? The timing may have worked out well for me. I don't know. You know what I mean? I mean, some of you out here are just like Carl Sagan's, just like, I didn't even watch the fight. I don't even care. I just want to see BC in this with these issues with this collar. You know what I mean? Can we come back from that? I don't know. You know, I mean, do I even need this anymore? No. Who am I listening to right now? Right? Nobody. Okay. There we go. Thank you, Carl. Thank you so much. Wow. Wow. Yeah. Okay. So I mean, I just want to sit here in this moment and just sort of think back. It was crazy. You don't see heavyweight bouts fought at that pace. That was like David Tua, Ike Ibeabuchi pace. And you certainly don't see fights contested at that pace as technically brilliant as the performance that Usyk put out. You know, as much as I might need to rewatch it to see if Fury did control that center of the ring and was closer in some rounds, I think others need to rewatch it to see how little Usyk was actually getting hit flush and clean because of the brilliance of his high guard. I was seeing a lot of situations where the announced team on DAZN, again, an all British team, were playing up successes Fury was having with the jab or with the right cross, as I'm seeing Usyk swallow them up. So sometimes it's those bang bang moments that you're watching right there, but in the end, one, like I said, best guy won, the right guy won, excuse me. And I'm fired up. Alan W., thank you so much for supporting once again. Buy something nice for Reggie Jackson. And it was a close fight. Yeah. Overall, neither was overall effective. I'll argue with that. You know, I thought Usyk was effective in this one. What did he not do ultimately? It wasn't like they canceled each other out. It wasn't like they were both ineffective. It was a very fun, high-paced, heavyweight, skilled fight. The extra weight might have lost him the fight, says Allen regarding Fury. See, that's Fury conceded the center of the last quarter. He gave away the fight. I think Fury had legitimate issues in the second half, stamina-wise. Didn't seem to have as clear of a dump as the first fight, but did have to really try to keep it up on there. I mean, again, what heavyweights are we seeing fight at this pace? The conditioning that Usyk has this late in his career, remarkable. But Alan, thank you so much as always for the support there. It is interesting about the weight in this case. Alan jumping back in with Dubois might get KO'd by Park. See, great point. Great point that I even forgot in my Usyk celebration there, that Dubois does have a fight February 22nd on that absolutely loaded Riyadh Season card when he takes on ex-champion Joe Parker. And even though Joseph Parker is rejuvenated himself, I certainly think that Dubois can get by this. Bacoli's a big fix. Did you hear some tease on the broadcast from the play-by-play guy when they showed Francis Ngannou basically saying, could Ngannou see himself on a Riyadh Season card in Africa against Bacoli? I hadn't even thought of something like that. And even with Ngannou's, brutal KO loss to Joshua, he was in attendance this weekend for not just the fight, but all the festivities, the ring gala and all that. Turkey's going to make some interesting fights at the top of this division, but yes, Dubois is going to have to get through Parker first. I don't think he'll get KO'd. I really do think Dubois has found this sort of formula to be as dangerous as he possibly can. I think that formula is mental, and I think he has figured it out for himself. But Alan, you brought up, I think, some interesting points overall. And the point about the weight regarding Fury, I said ahead of time that I think he needed to do two things which are almost contrast from each other. One, improve his stamina, but two, he seemed dead set on improving overall strength. I think he kind of did that to some degree because he did overall seem fresher than the first fight. And let's not forget there were elements to the first fight that, are not excuses for defeat, but are certainly part of it. Like the cut that postponed the fight, the lack of, extended sparring in that training camp and everything that went with that. But for as much as Tyson Fury came in fatter than I expected, even with us seeing the 281 pounds on the scale, I thought there were some last minute Fury mind games. There were some weird things that happened right before this fight, from Fury being allowed to keep that very thick beard. I saw some reporting on Twitter that Team Usyk was not happy with that, to the last minute switching of the judges, right? One of those judges initially they found out was had a high executive job with Disney, ESPN, and they didn't want that, so they moved him off. They flew over Steve Weisfeld. At the last minute, they pulled Weisfeld for somebody else and did a coin flip to figure it out. So I had that feeling like we could be headed into a bad situation there, but I'm glad ultimately that didn't play out that way. Let's hear a few more from you guys here. Natter saying Fury didn't get enough credit for the uppercut bombs he landed, especially rounds 8 through 11. I didn't feel he was as effective with that punch And the effect that he did have, I thought, was earlier in the fight. And I really thought Usyk made the adjustments to eliminate that. Again, even I will watch it a second time and see if my score changes. And certainly in Monday's Morning Combat, we'll have a much different discussion on, a bigger picture on where it's going on there. But Fury fought well. I mean, I don't love the idea that, when it's like, BC, how'd you score it? And you say 9 rounds to 3, and it makes it look like you have no idea what you're doing. But this is not the first time we've seen a very close fight in which one guy seemed to win those close rounds consistently. But, I'm down to hear Vince Ventura jump in, extremely competitive fight, Vince says, where neither one really pulled away whatsoever. People just like to bash and Fury and be hipsters and pretend they are diehards of Usyk. Well, I've been an appreciator, Vince, of Usyk for a very, very long time. Alan, it seems like you've got this fight for Fury. Alan W. saying, what did Usyk really land? The body jab, some flurries that didn't land clean. He won, but he didn't look like Superman there. Alan, I couldn't disagree more on that. The body attack early on was a key part of really never allowing Fury to set his feet and take a lead and build control behind that jab. But it really was the effects of the body punching that I think opened up Usyk to his greatest successes. And that's why what I mean by that is the success he was having to the body, it's set up that way to bring down Fury's guard, to slow him down and to make him more of a, pinata to pick away from. Usyk in the middle to late rounds was very, very effective in terms of counter left hands, combinations. I really thought he did a lot more than you're saying there, but hey, I'll rewatch it. I'll get back to you just the same. I think we all should. Would Lazy Bed, would Fury have an even better career if he was physically in great shape again? It's the debate that's sort of always been there. I mean, my favorite version of Fury was the super slim down version who did something to Vladimir Klitschko in 2015 that we didn't think was possible. He controlled every ounce of the terms of that fight, brought out that, and what made that 2015 upset so special was the fights before. Fury didn't look anything like that. He was often overweight, sloppy at times. He put it all together on one night with the perfect game plan meant to confuse and disrupt Klitschko. And it literally put Klitschko in the corner. Like, it literally left Klitschko without answers, that it wasn't until the final 30 seconds of the 12th round that Klitschko finally started to just say, F it, I'm going to bite down and try to walk through and land big shots. It was that perfect of a performance. But look, he's a 36-year-old man now, and he's had a lot of ups and downs inside and out of the ring since then. He's adjusted his style to the matchups that he's had, like the Wilder series, where he felt he needed to put on more weight and felt that maybe rather than, trying to play defense and move around and throw a perfect game against Wilder, which I thought he did in their first fight, despite the 2 knockdowns, he rightfully put on weight, figured out how to be more of a power puncher, changed his trainers, brought in, the Kronk background of Javon Sugar Hill Stewart. So I think in those fights, the added weight was good for him. But if the question was, had he never had the 3.5 years of depression, overeating, drug use, suicidal thoughts, all of that, had he not been the wild man that he sort of is outside the ring, and had he been able to sort of be that slick, thin fighter that he was in the Klitschko fight and the first Wilder fight, would he have had more success in the long run? It's hard to say, because this division can be so grueling. There's so much physicality necessary and needed. And when you are 6'9", and when you do have natural height and reach advantages over people, adding on the weight, going the Big John Fury route of saying, I want my son to be 300 pounds as big as possible. There certainly are advantages in that. And I think, once again, that turning point was that Otto Wallin fight where Fury almost lost the title because of the cut, and he had to adjust to that big man style to pull it out. But I do wonder over the years how much the abuse he's put on his body, the fact that he's gone up and down in weight, the drug use, the eating, all that. It is kind of remarkable that he's still at this level at 36. But I say this about everybody. I used to say that about Frank Mir in the second half of his career in the UFC, that if he just committed a little bit more to, to a truly elite level fitness and cardio, would that have made him a more championship able fighter over the course of his career? Well, look, it's hard to talk negatively about Fury's success because he's only lost twice to the same man, the great Oleksandr Usyk. But yes, I do believe that would have helped him throughout the time. Hey, Luke Nocita's here. Was waiting for this to start. My phone fell asleep. I heard you did your own stream. Okay, Long Island Luke. So shout out to you. Thank you very much. Wow. What a, for XV Sting. I mean, I don't even know what that means, Alan. All right. I mean, I don't even know what this means either, but I love it. Right. Thank you so much. Wow. What a guy. What a man. What a very good man. All right. JN's here. Let's hear from him. BC, you're the man. Please consider doing live Q&A for MK again. Off topic, will we see Taichi Palace card in 2025? It was weird that Dana made that comment about it, right? But until I see that, and it's, what are you going to bring? That's such a small venue. You can only bring a fight night card. They better get their fight night card, but you know what they're going to get in the NJN. They're going to get a big power slap event, and Dana's going to act like it's the biggest thing ever. And there you go, right there. But definitely appreciate your support of this channel, without question. Let's hear from Right and Wrong. Any pipe dream matchups for 25? How many times do we see a Inoue fight in the new year? Well, Inoue is heavily being criticized here for what is starting to kind of look like a bit of a duck of MJ Akhmadaliev, the former unified champion at 122. But it seems like they're even with the postponement of the Sam Goodman fight, it seems like his plan is to be active and fight 3 times. I've seen some reporting that the perceived crossover fight for him of the Junko Nakatani All Japan Showdown, moving up from bantamweight, there might be some hiccups in those plans. All I know is before leaving this division, he's going to have to go through Akhmadaliev. I'd love to see him fight 3 times this year. And pipe dream matchups, I mean, I certainly can list them all for you, and if you follow my work, you know them. But again, say what you want about the Turkey experience. It can be up, it can be down. There's good and there's bad. This whole idea of dream matchups, pipe dream ones, it's becoming a reality. Like, yes, we still don't know right now. Where's Top Rank going? Are they just going to throw themselves at the zone and enter the Turkey sweepstakes? What's PBC going to do this year? Things that we don't know of 2 promoters that have had some business with Riyadh season but haven't become full-timers. With the money that Saudi has, any fights able to be made, and with the organization and structure and control that they're starting to do, it's like you don't even have to worry about pipe dreams. They're going to happen. You got Shakur Stevenson, interviews with Eddie Hearn saying the 3-fight plan for him would end up being him against Gervonta for the final fight to end 25. I mean, these are the things I want to hear. These are the things I want to see. So I'm fired the heck up. Believe it. I mean, I don't love all these fights being in Saudi. I love the time, though. As an old guy in the East Coast, I do like that. I'm starting to get used to that. Alan, what did Usyk really land the butt? Oh, yeah, we already hit that one. Thank you so much, Alan. Appreciate that. All right. Guys, appreciate all of you joining me. Let me see if there's any more people wanting to jump in. Devin Tuck, always getting my back. I only walk 1 to the trug, to be fair. I'm a 1-woman man, but thank you. Thank you for that great comment. Just the same. All right. What is that, Alan? I don't know what that is. What is this thing? What are you talking about, Alan? All right. I mean, Alan does make it rain. That's what he does. That's it. Jay Wright coming in, commentary team, and AJ seemed like they had their hearts set. They did, to be fair. And I'm not saying it was nefarious from the announce team. I'm not saying because they're British, they were definitely backing the British fighter. And I'm also not saying that they're just hoping for this all British showdown, which I still, again, think it'll happen anyway in 25, only because it's such big business in a UK soccer stadium and we haven't seen it yet. But with all that said, I thought people were way too high on the Fury side of things, but that's why you rewatch the fights. That's why you see what happened. But in real time, the right guy won. I'm fired up. I'm ready. Whew. Thank you. We'll be back Monday, 11 a.m. Thank you for jumping in and chiming in. Thank you for supporting the channel. What a night. What a night. What a man. All right. Big night for Alan W on this chat. Big night for Oleksandr Usyk in the ring. Some of you had Fury winning. That's cool. Given the business between them and given how great these first 2 fights were, I'll say this. I'll leave you with this. If Usyk decides to stay active, and don't forget, he's talked a few times about going back to cruiserweight and maybe fighting Opataya. But I also could see him walking off at any point and going, how much more perfect can I be than what I am now? But if he continues on, I think we're going to get a third Fury fight. I think that there's an argument in both fights for Fury enough. They make such perfect fights against each other that should, let's say, Dubois beats Parker and we build to Usyk Dubois 2, and let's say Fury goes out there and beats AJ. Yeah. Yeah. All right. All right. Rafe and I will go tip to tip Natter later this week. And also, BC, when are you going to interview Trump? Don? You talking about Don? I didn't have any plans for that. Just so you know. But that's it. That's all I got for you. I'm gonna take off these clothes. Not on the air though. Okay, that's not what I'm trying to do here. Big fan of boxing right now. Okay. It's kind of hot right now. All right. I love it. I love what you do for me. I don't want all the fights to be over there, but I want them all to feel this big, this grand, and this great. And shout out to that very large man who won the Mercedes or BMW or whatever it was that Turkey gave away. And then they had him gas himself out by walking across the crowd. It looked like the Pontiac Silverdome at WrestleMania 3, right? When you come out in those little rain carts, but then like some guys would just run out, right? Like Ultimate Warrior style. This guy looked like he gassed out on the way there, but shout out to Turkey giving away that car just the same. All right, that's it. Yeah, that dude was gassed. You were right, Nocita. Okay, BC out. Fortnite OG ranked is calling my name. Zero build because I get down like that. Thank you guys for getting down with this. We'll be back on Monday Morning Combat, 11 a.m. Eastern. Tip your waitresses, take care of your mental health. Tell your family you love them, and let's all rewatch this fight and rescore it. Vince Ventura, I'm looking for you out there on the streets. All right, let's debate. All right, we out. That's it. I can't do it again. That's it.